they will mislead you and say things that are not factual to affect what they're going to pay. We go through this every day. It's a reality. The decision maker said you do not have coverage. So if it's not going to go any further and you're not going to budge, the next thing you do is start suing if you really believe you have a case and you had coverage.
Right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Airing of Grievances. I'm Eric Reamer. This is Robert Grieve, and we are ever so glad that you are here with us today. We produce these every Saturday morning at 9:30 a.m. in the Mountain Standard Time. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, this is your opportunity to go ahead and do that right now. Just click the little red subscribe button. That will notify you, especially if you click the notification bell. That'll tell you that we are actually airing another episode. But if it's Saturday morning and it's 9:30 a.m., you can find us right here. You can even communicate with us as we premiere the video and chat with our viewers in real time. That said, Robert, happy Saturday to you.
Happy Saturday to you.
And to
my
you.
dear friends, thank you for tuning in.
Absolutely. Okay, today we're going to talk about a case that happened here in Colorado. And the Colorado Supreme Court got involved in this case with a policyholder and an insurance company. In this case, it's Allstate. And this particular case made national news because it sets or establishes a precedent here in the state of Colorado that probably will be adopted.
And other states will follow suit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the way it's going to work.
All right, so let's set this up. The headline says, Colorado Supreme Court finds policyholder can't sue Allstate adjuster for bad faith decision. All right, we have on a number of occasions addressed the topic of bad faith. And this one, we're going to look at it square in the crosshairs, if you don't mind.
Yeah, from this standpoint, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I've been following this story. By the way, Laura, great job on this, Repair Driven News again.
Mm-hmm. Laura Lowry.
Outstanding. And so I've been following this from the first time that I heard that it was out there for a Supreme Court to make a decision on.
Yeah, it's making its way through the courts, and they decided to shove it all the way up.
And I was doing the, please. But I knew.
Yeah, this did not end up the way that we, I guess, would feel like it should have. But it ended up the way that we felt like it would.
Well, in today's standard of not holding anybody accountable for anything.
Yep.
This was a perfect decision, and why hold people accountable? Great, we'll hold the company accountable. The company was always accountable.
Yeah.
Well,
let's set the stage with what happened here, and I'll just kind of summarize it and let me know if I'm wrong. So it is my understanding that a woman was involved in an accident, and she called her insurance company. She felt like she was entitled to
she had coverage.
A claim, and she had coverage, and felt like she was entitled to a claim. And the adjuster for that company, in this case Allstate, said no. And at
no
that
coverage.
point, she decided to take that up the courts.
Well, that's what you do when now you have a contract with your insurance company.
Right.
It's an actual contract that you have with them.
Yes.
And they have duties and you have duties. And what we're dealing here, this person felt as though they had coverage under a specific part of the policy.
Right.
The person at the insurance company said, no, you don't.
This is the adjuster that we're speaking of. He's named in the suit.
Yeah, and there's a lot of differences between adjusters and appraisers, and I mean, everybody's got different names and different responsibilities.
Sure.
But the person that she was talking to, that
Yeah.
was making the decision,
Yep.
the decision maker, said, you do not have coverage. So if it's not going to go any further and you're not going to budge, the next thing you do is start suing if you really believe you have a case and you had coverage.
Right.
And let the court decide if you had coverage or not.
Yep.
So, but when they sued, they not only sued Allstate, they sued the person that made the decision. Because that's the person talking to you.
That
and that's
sounds
the decision
reasonable.
giver.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable to me.
Yeah.
And yet, the highest court in Colorado.
Well, it had to go to the highest court because she's suing a person of the insurance company as well as the insurance company.
Yes.
And there's some gray area there that's really not
Yeah.
been successfully done. And so it needed to go to the Supreme Court to make a decision on whether you could sue the individual or not.
Yeah.
And the law is kind of funny to read because in one place it says any person affecting, the policy and what's going to happen
delaying or
is
denying.
responsible.
Yep.
But in other cases in the law, in the same law, it says it's the insurer's responsibility.
Wait a minute. Legislation can be ambiguous?
Well, yes, it's up for interpretation, I guess, and that's what we have the Supreme Court for.
That's exactly what the Supreme Court is designed to do.
So, here's the thing. I'm glad that she brought it up. Adjusters will tell you anything. Some, not all adjusters, not all appraisers. Some, and especially today, they will mislead you and say things that are not factual to affect what they're going to pay. We go through this every day. It's a reality.
Okay.
And so I was hoping that the person that made the decisions would be held responsible. They're the ones, communicating with the policyholder. They're the ones making the decision for the insurance company to the policyholder.
Right.
And unless this person sued them, what do you get? Nothing. Or less than what you deserve. So I'm glad that it went up the chain. I wish the people on the other end of the phone at the insurance company could be held responsible personally.
Sure.
Because they say such false things. I have them in emails from them. It's incredible what they'll say to somebody.
Yeah.
And I think they should be held responsible, just as responsible as the company itself.
Of course.
In this particular case, it didn't happen that way. And I'll give you a personal example. Many years ago, at the shop the physical location that we used to have, because we moved here and bought this place, where we started out, up the street a little bit, we had a loss. And I called my insurance company and filed the claim, spoke with the guy, and basically told him what I expect will happen next.
Sure.
Because I'm kind of fluid in these areas.
Yes.
And this person decided to give me a ton of false information, which I knew was false. You don't have coverage for this, you don't have coverage for that, you can't do this, and we're not going to pay for that.
Well, he probably took a bite out of the wrong tree.
And I told him, I said, I'm pretty certain I have all those things. If you feel like I don't, then send me over in my policy where it says you don't owe for that stuff. And he did, except for it said sample policy across it. And so I got a hold of my agent, which don't buy insurance online, have an agent, because you need a mediary. You need somebody on your side.
Yeah.
Because your agent is supposed to not only represent them, but you.
Sure.
They're a middle person. Anyway, I called my agent. He says, Rob, relax. You have all those coverages. I'm going to make a few phone calls. And he did. And that got most of it settled, but not all of it.
Okay.
And it got to the point where I had to write a letter, spend money with my attorney to have him proof my letter and understand it.
Yep.
Send the letter off to the adjuster on the other end of the phone, who's handling the claim, put him on notice that you have 2 hours to reverse course of action on this, or I am going to file a bad faith claim. You lied to me, you provided me false documentation, and a bad faith claim, that's 2 times the loss, and let me tell you what, it was a gigantic loss.
And all the court costs on top of
Everything.
that. Yeah.
Everything. So, and I copied my attorney when I sent the email off.
Sure.
Within the 2 hours, everything got straightened out, and the claim was handled properly.
It's amazing how a little bit of clarity and sense of urgency can change things.
Yeah.
But you have to have the knowledge, which is why
I knew what I bought,
Yeah.
and I knew that I asked for certain, and it's a commercial policy.
Sure.
So those are much different than a regular everyday homeowners or umbrella or anything like that.
But nonetheless, we bang the drum for knowing what insurance you are purchasing, making sure that you have the various riders, including more than 30 days of rental and so on.
OEM parts riders, all the rest. So I
Right.
did all those things, but on the commercial side.
Understood.
To make sure not only I was protected, but my guests are protected that have their vehicles here.
Yes.
And they were not being nice at all. And if they had stuck with what they wanted to do, I would have had to sue them, and I would have won an awful lot of money. And I gave them the opportunity to make it right. That's what the laws are for.
Sure.
They're there that if we can't come to an agreement on, I believe I have all this coverage and I have paid for all this coverage.
Right.
You're showing me policies that isn't my policy, not showing the riders that I have and stuff, and trying to make me believe I don't have coverage that I do have.
Yep.
And that's where this person was at.
Yeah.
And say, okay, great. You want to say all this stuff to me? I believe I'm right. We're going to the courts.
Yep.
And, I'm depressed a little bit, not surprised that the Supreme Court decided that the person isn't responsible. It's the insurance company.
Yep.
Ultimately, it is it is the insurance company.
They're the ones who pay.
But imagine if it went the other way and held adjusters and the people on the other end of the phone accountable for what they're saying.
We'd probably have less fighting in the trenches.
If I were the person on the other end of the phone, I would not be saying things that I know not to be correct.
Right.
And you know what? If you're going to effectuate my policy when I have a loss, then you better know what my policy is. You're my insurer.
Yes.
I understand what this person was going through. They really felt as though they had a case, and we don't know where this case is going to, because it went sent back down to, Colorado to be adjudicated through, against Allstate itself.
I
so,
see. So the final chapter has not yet been written in this.
It doesn't appear to have been written yet. Okay. All that we know now is that when you go to sue for bad faith, there's no point in naming the person on the other end of the phone. Doesn't mean you can't depose them, though. And I recommend you depose them.
We've said many times over the years that you're not a lawyer.
I'm not a lawyer.
Right?
I don't even play one on TV.
But my goodness, you could have been. Coulda, shoulda, woulda.
The things that these adjusters say are just incredible.
Yeah.
And they make somebody working on your behalf look less than credible because you want to believe them. They're your insurance company. You pay them.
Right.
And so they'll say that what we said is wrong. I'm like, okay, well, anytime you want to draw suit or call the cops, you go ahead and have at it, because I won't give you bad advice.
All right. Wrap it up for us. What's our walk away, take away?
Here is the takeaway, folks.
Yep.
If you feel as though what the person on the other end of the phone at the insurance company is telling you is not true or is misleading, the first thing you should do is give the Department of Insurance a call.
Yep.
They're friendly people. Run it past them. I'm not saying you have to make a complaint or anything.
Just ask.
Just call them up and say, hey, the insurance company is telling me this. I understand that it's this from my policy. Does this make any sense to you? And they'll help you weave through that and decide, what the next course of action is.
Okay.
And they may say, I need you to fill out this document, and that'll give them authorization to reach out to that insurance company and ask them, what the heck's going on around here? What are you telling these people? Because the Department of Insurance doesn't put up with that. If
Right.
they're telling you wrong things, it's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good for them.
Even-
So do that.
Even Goliath had to answer to the general.
So that's my takeaway. If you feel like you're not being told the truth or you're being misled,
Yeah.
it's free. Call the Department of Insurance, ask them their opinion. Maybe they'll reach out to the insurance company. We have this happen day in and day out when we tell somebody, yeah, they're not telling you the truth.
Yeah.
Give the Department of Insurance a call. Next thing you know, the claim is paid in full. Like in no time at all. Because the insurance company has to go through all sorts of paperwork and stuff. If you actually file a complaint, they don't really want to do that either.
Yep.
So you don't always have to go through litigation, although if you want to, or you feel like you have a case, we have people that can help you.
Yeah.
Consumer protection attorneys, and that's it. I just I have to say I'm a little depressed. I'm a little depressed, but I understand because those managers, they'll push down on you. It's top-down management.
Yep.
So when they say to the adjuster who's a low man on the totem pole, we're not paying this for these reasons, you just tell them that, now they're off the hook.
Yep.
And it's back to the insurance company.
I'm grateful for your time. I'm thankful for you for watching. If you made it
Thank
all the
you.
way to this point of the video, do us a favor, give us the thumbs up if you would, please. That helps YouTube know that this is good content for other people, and we appreciate you for watching us. We'll see you again next week. Rob, happy Saturday to you.
Happy Saturday, and to you, have an amazing week.